आ जाएगा? हाँ ठीक है समझ गई. Hello everyone, a very logical day to all of you, and here we are with the explanation of the first editorial of 14th September, the Indian Express newspaper. Here it is. So, a sticky surge. Surge means a rise. Let us see what is so sticky about it. The reading part contains on Tuesday data released by the National Statistical Office, or immediately you should read NSO. इतनी बारी आ चुका है आर्टिकल, मतलब ये नाम इंस्टीट्यूशन का, that you should be able to come up with this NSO, right? So on Tuesday, data released by the NSO showed that the retail inflation as measured by the consumer price index, that is CPI, so do read about it, eased below the 7% level, falling to 6.83% in August. The decline was driven, this is giving the reason, was driven largely by lower food inflation. The consumer food price index fell to 9.94% in August from 11.51% in July. The disaggregated data shows that this decline was in large part due to vegetables. Giving you the reason, right. Now, vegetable inflation fell from 37.4% in July to 26.1% in August. As per ICRA, this fall contributed around 28 basis point of the 61 basis point decline in headline CPI. Now, see, the fall in the prices is giving a fall in the inflation here. Now, inflation, however, continues to remain elevated in cereals, 11.85%, pulses and products, 13.04%, spices, this much, and milk and products, 7.73%. There are indications that upside risks to food prices linger on, right? Upside risk to food prices linger on मतलब lingering का मतलब होता है धीरे धीरे चलना, अभी भी कंटिन्यू हो रहा है, कहीं है आसपास ऐसा, लेकिन ये चलेगा अभी, right? So though it is giving you the decline in inflation in few products, it is giving you the reason of why the CPI index that fell also. So decline, reason, due to, and then however. Based on this, you get this point that there are indications that upside risk to food prices linger on. मतलब ये अभी चलेगा food prices पे problem जो है. In his last meeting, the Monetary Policy Committee, ये mainly अपने पास MPC के नाम से आता है, right? Had opted to maintain the status quo on rates. This we have done earlier in the previous articles also, that there was a pause in the RBI rates. Choosing to look through this surge in inflation, the view was that the price shock from vegetables was short term in nature. This was the reason, or this was their view, their opinion, कि हम चेंज नहीं करेंगे प्राइसेस, बैंक रेट्स को, इंटरेस्ट रेट्स को चेंज नहीं करेंगे. क्यों? क्योंकि वेजिटेबल की प्राइसेस है ऊपर नीचे होती रहेंगी वो, तो यू कैन you don't need to change the overall or bring a change in the monetary policy as such. So it was short term in nature and the price pressures would recede. ठीक है, ये इनका मानना था. ठीक है, so what their view was, this is their opinion, and what you can understand from this, inference आ सकता है, यहाँ से assumption हो सकता है. However, there are now indications that high food prices may not be transitory. Not be transitory. Transitory is like transient, only for a short time. कि ये जो food price में increase है, जरूरी नहीं है ये short term हो सकता है ये long term थोड़ा सा चल जाए. What the RBI was thinking was that this increase in the food prices was for a short term. That means temporary, that means transient or transitory or mercurial. But it may not be so. मतलब इसमें से हमारा assumption क्या हो सकता है यहाँ पे author का, कि हो सकता है कि prices लंबे समय तक चले, transient नहीं है, transitory नहीं है, possible it is not going to reduce and it may continue for a long time. Implied meaning, for one, the monsoon continues to be deficient, जो कि ये तो 14th का है अभी, right? And a strengthening El Nino in the coming months could potentially impact the upcoming Rabi crop. could potentially impact. You can see the weak words also. It is not very straight forward and strongly given. No, it might, it could, possible, would recede. ठीक है, हमारा जो फोकस होता है वो रीडिंग में इस पे होना चाहिए, इन वर्ड्स पे, mainly in the critical reasoning section, right? The upcoming rabi crop. Now, this would suggest that even as vegetable prices may correct, यानी हो सकता है कि अगर ये सही भी हो जाती हैं प्राइसेस तो क्या होगा? Food inflation could prove to be more sticky than previously anticipated. जो पहले सोचा गया था उससे ज्यादा स्टिकी हो सकती हैं प्राइसेस due to higher prices in other categories. Government has taken several steps in recent months to curb prices. It has decided to offload 5 million tons in wheat and 25 million tons of rice in the open market, imposed stock limits on urad and tur, enacted export bans on wheat, non-basmati white rice and sugar, announced the sale of tomatoes at discounted rates, and imposed a 40% duty on the onion exports. ये सारे जो हैं ये steps हैं taken by the government in the recent months to curb the prices. Whatever steps the government has taken is given here, right? All these steps are given here. Now, from these steps and from this sentence, यहाँ से the government से लेके, what can be understood, what can be inferred, what can be assumed? Assumption में you can say that the steps taken by the government assumes that this is going to bring down the prices. Simple सा अगर ये sentence होता तो भी है answer. The prices are going to fall down, they are going to fall or they are going to decline in the coming days, possible. बहुत simply given, but it can be the assumption here based on this sentence that the government has taken steps to curb the prices. So it is assuming that the steps taken will be efficiently implemented. ये भी सही है. The steps taken will bring the positive result of reducing the prices or bringing a decline in the prices. ये भी सही है. So any sentence according to this would be your assumption taken. Inference that the government is working towards, or its intention or its objective is to bring down the prices, and hence it is working towards it. Okay, this is what the conclusion. Okay, and here from here you can get a conclusion also. A differently framed sentence पर वही हो जाएगा कि हम इस sentence में से assumption, conclusion, inferences कुछ भी निकाल सकते हैं. हमें सिर्फ basic की चीजें चाहिए. This would recede, it could potentially impact, it would suggest, it could improve, or it may be correct. The vegetable prices may correct, मतलब सही हो जाएंगे, पर फिर भी ये सब हो सकता है. क्यों? Due to the higher prices in other categories. ये reason. So if you can break this down and focus a little on these words, you will be able to understand this paragraph well. However, author comes to this little twist again. So this supply side induced inflation shock requires, what is required now? Deft supply, deft is adroit, हम बहुत बार कर चुके हैं. Deft is skilled, talented, adroit, dexterous. So this deft supply side management. Imports must be eased. क्या क्या करना चाहिए? अब उन्होंने steps तो बता दिए, ठीक है, कि गवर्नमेंट ये steps कर रही हैं to curb the prices. However, what is required from the supply side now? It requires a deft supply of management. Imports must be eased, and the policy of imposing stock limits must be re-examined. Policies must be re-examined. Limits वाली जो policy उन्होंने बनाई है उन्हें फिर से करना पड़ेगा. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Assumption है कि हो सकता है कि कुछ जो policies हैं वो सही नहीं है, या policies हैं they are in need of some amendment, some improvement. Most analysts expect inflation to fall further in September as vegetable prices correct. Right? So correct इसका मतलब vegetable prices ठीक ठाक हो जाएंगे, सही हो जाएंगे तो फिर inflation भी कम हो जाएगा. Again, he is giving, however, for the entire second quarter, that is July to September, inflation is likely to average above the RBI's forecast of 6.2%. Considering the uncertainty in the trajectory of food inflation, uncertainty उससे कहा था transitory है, कम ज्यादा कभी भी हो सकता है. The MPC is likely to maintain, again likely to maintain the status quo when it meets next in October. अक्टूबर में मिलेंगे तब वापस से, क्योंकि सितंबर तक तो ऐसे सोचा है कि ऑलमोस्ट सही हो जाएगा, बट सस्टेन फूड इन्फ्लेशन कुछ स्पिल ओवर मतलब सितंबर तक का जो इन्फ्लेशन है, हो सकता है ये अक्टूबर में भी थोड़ा सा कैरी फॉरवर्ड हो जाए, उसे स्पिल ओवर कहेंगे. रेजिंग द पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन बिकमिंग जनरलाइज्ड, मतलब ये दो क्वार्टर्स के लिए ऐसा हो जाएगा कि ठीक है इन्फ्लेशन तो चल ही रहा है, वो जनरलाइज हो जाएगा. सच फूड प्राइसेस शॉक्स could also impact household inflation expectations. There is also the hardening of crude oil prices to contend with. This will complicate the policy choices. क्रूड ऑयल प्राइसेस बढ़ जाएगा, हाउस होल्ड इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ जाएगा. अगर वेजिटेबल्स का प्राइस ऐसे ऑलमोस्ट अक्टूबर तक भी इन्फ्लेटेड रहा तो दिस विल कॉम्प्लिकेट. आगे क्या होगा, how it is going to take shape in the future, वो बताया. This is going to complicate the policy choices before the MPC. MPC is likely to maintain the status quo. पिछली बार भी जब मिले थे स्टेटस को क्या था कि तो फूड प्राइसेस इन्फ्लेशन जो है वो शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए है, सही हो जाएगा धीरे धीरे, लेकिन अभी सही नहीं हुआ, तो हो सकता है कि ये अक्टूबर तक चल जाएगा. सितंबर में ये कम होने वाला था, बट देन इट कैन स्पिल ओवर टू अक्टूबर. Then they have just limited choice in their making, policy making, when they meet in October. This is what you can understand from the point. How the growth inflation trajectory evolve will determine the course of the policy action. That means what? What can be inferred from this sentence? That the policy, how or what change they are bringing in the policy will depend on the inflation or the growth inflation trajectory का मतलब होता है path. So that means it will be a major or it will be an important or a significant factor. The growth inflation will be a significant factor in deciding the course of the policies. Understood this? सिंगल सेंटेंस में से भी हमारे पास assumptions हो सकते हैं, सिंगल सेंटेंसेस में से भी हम inferences निकाल सकते हैं. You can understand this because the rest of the paragraph becomes your reasoning. So if you can understand the whole paragraph and then come to the point, you get that idea in your mind. Let's see what the RBI did was it had taken a pause, a status quo. We get those two words here. Believing or with the opinion that there would be the inflation would be a short term one, likelihood that this inflation is going to spill over into the month of October, that is the next quarter also, and hence the changes that will be brought in the policies, the monetary policies, will be affected by the growth inflation, how the vegetable prices will decrease or increase, what the inflation of the food products is, and what the crude oil prices are. All this in the month of September, October, this is going to become the base for the monetary policy review. Clear? I hope you have understood this. Coming to the main idea, vegetable prices declined. ये उसे first few lines में बता दिया था. But upside risk to food inflation persists. ठीक है. This supply side shock requires deft policy management. You have to be deft, adept, skilled, quick, active, कुछ भी बोल सकते हो. 3 points you have. Vegetable prices declining, but आ गया यहाँ से. Food inflation पे risk अभी तक बरकरार है. It is going on. It persists, and this supply side shock requires a deft policy management. So you have 3 points here, 3 points you could understand from the paragraph. And today you have only one question. We have discussed it quite well. So I think you can come up with your main argument. So you can give me 3 or 4 lines का argument, but थोड़ा सा उसको ये बताना कि author का mindset क्या है. Author ने अपनी point किस तरीके से रखी है, that included the conclusion that he comes to, plus what is the base, what is the premise, including all those 3 points would give you your argument. So give me only the main argument of the passage. That is only one question today. And coming to the tone and style, we have incredulous tone. Incredulous इन्हें विश्वास ही नहीं होता है. Oh my God, तुम इतनी अच्छी पेंटिंग बना सकती हो. बोले हाँ, क्यों नहीं. ये होगा तुम्हारा जवाब अगर तुमने इतनी अच्छी पेंटिंग बनाई है तो. Right, but the word, the way that is being said, I can't believe you've made such a beautiful painting. Right, there's a question, there's an exclamation mark possibly, right? Or there would be some or the other word which would show surprise, which would show wonder, which would show, say, like a disbelief, you can say. जैसे बोलते हैं incredible India. कभी ad देखी होगी, incredible India, then India could be so beautiful. So the city could be so beautiful, I can't believe, right? Rajasthan would receive, say, a 5-inch incessant rains. I can't believe it. इतनी ज्यादा बारिश, हाँ, चाहे राजस्थान हो या इंदौर हो या कोई भी है, right? So sometimes something that is highly unlikely, ऐसा एक्सपेक्ट नहीं किया था और हुआ, और इट कैन शो फ्रस्ट्रेशन इन आई कांट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई कांट यू अंडरस्टैंड समथिंग. मुझे डिसबिलीव हो रहा है, यू आर सच अ सॉर्टेड पर्सन, यू आर सच अ patient person. I can't believe you behaved in such a manner with the principal or at the principal's office or in your school or in front of an audience or at the party. Right? I can't believe you behaved in such a manner at the party. तो अगर विश्वास ही नहीं होगा, क्यों? क्योंकि आपसे ये एक्सपेक्टेड नहीं था. ठीक है, तो जो एक्सपेक्टेड नहीं होता है और हाईली अनलाइकली उसे हम कहेंगे. सो समटाइम्स यू फील फ्रस्ट्रेटेड आल्सो, राइट? सो दिस आई कैन बिलीव वाला. बट जब ये फंडा आ जाएगा कि आई कैन बिलीव, तो पैसेजेस में कैसे होगा? आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई यू आर हर्ट. सॉरी, व्हाई यू, दो बार लिख लिया मैंने, इसे एक को छोड़ दो. वैसे भी तुम लोग कैनॉट में से नॉट छोड़ देते हो, पढ़ते ही नहीं हो तुम लोग मॉक टेस्ट में ना, तो इस हिसाब से. सो आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई यू आर हर्ट. आई नेवर सेड एनीथिंग लाइक दैट. मतलब सिंपल सी बात थी, तुम्हें बुरी लग गई. लॉजिकल रहो. जब ऐसा थॉट आता है तो दैट्स इम्पॉसिबल. मतलब लॉजिकल रहना इम्पॉसिबल है. क्यों? आई वुड नॉट एक्सपेक्ट अ लॉजिकल अप्रोच फ्रॉम यू मे बी. सो दैट्स इम्पॉसिबल. हाउ कुड ही डू इट? ऐसा कैसे कर सकता है वो? तो जब इस तरीके के सेंटेंसेस आएंगे, देन यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट इट इज एन इनक्रेडुलस टोन where the author doesn't believe that this could be done. So something that is highly unlikely will be seen from the passage कि the author believes, नहीं, he doesn't believe only कि इतना हो सकता है, because not expected such an act. So that's all for today, and thank you, and stay logical, and do keep reading and listening to these editorials. जब भी आते हैं तब आप definitely समझेंगे, because you are going to benefit, and yes, you are going to benefit. जिसने भी इसके पहले वाले छोड़ रखे हैं, please do read them. If you want to understand the critical reasoning part, if you want to understand the central idea part, you can definitely come up to it. ओनली थिंग रिक्वायर्ड इज एक दिन में बैठ के कम से कम 4-5 देख लो. प्रीवियस बहुत सारे मंथ्स के रखे हैं, तुमने बहुत कुछ छोड़ भी दिए होंगे. डेट वाइज चले जाओ एक्सेप्ट संडेज वाले. उसके बाद तुम्हारे पास सब दिन के हैं, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम जनवरी है. मे बी तुम लोग उसको स्टार्ट कर लो अप्रैल से, राइट? तो जितना भी बैकलॉग है, डू कंप्लीट इट. मेक अ टारगेट 30 सितंबर तक आपको कंप्लीट कर देना है ये सब. ठीक है? थैंक यू, एंड स्टे लॉजिकल. सी यू अगेन.